What was it like back there in that early mid '90s, and how'd you end up with a 20-year carjacking term?
Right, right. Okay. But first of all, I want to tell everybody how we met. It's crazy how we met really at the beginning of your career, I think, because you two hadn't really
I was
blew
just
up.
I was known for the music videos, and I was just starting
Yeah.
to try to segue into some documentaries and all that.
Yeah, and my
Had I
book
done
was
Murder
doing,
City? I had just done Murder
you
City.
just did it. I had just came out with my book Chasing Money. It was doing great. Jeezy helped me promote it. He was the hottest artist at the time. So, but I knew it was the next level to it, and you took the book and turned it into a script, and that's how we met, and that's shoot, the rest is history. And they was giving out sex, and they would have guys sit in a dope house and pay them 500 a week, 1,000 a week. Me being 14, I'm seeing all my friends with these Gucci coats on, the now first Jordans, which was the most popular thing. I'm from the East Side.
What streets?
All up and down Chalmers. Alma, Troster, Cedar Grove. I was 14, and I seen all my friends, dressing nice. They had all the expensive, but I asked them, how y'all doing it? And, a lot of them didn't want to let me in, and a lot of them didn't know the way in. They just was working for somebody. So my older cousin, I'm 14, Omar, was 17. And he hooked me up with a guy named Dave, which Dave told me, I'm going to put you in a house, a crack house. I'm going to pay you $700 a week. I'm going to pay you $100 a day for food and whatever else you want.
Did you have to spend the night?
Yeah, I was there 24/7.
Okay. So you dropping out of school or summer?
Yeah, summer, and then you might take a week or two off of school and then go back. You know what I'm saying? You might take a week off school and then go back for 3 weeks. Or whatever. You take a couple of days off or whatever. Then you go back to school for a couple of days off the week or whatever. You make it happen. And that was pretty much it. And then
What's your mother like? Who was overseeing you? Why? How were you able to do this?
yeah, see, at the beginning, it works. You ain't got to hide too much because you don't have too much. But as, the weeks go and money start coming, now you buying things and now you go home longer. I was put in the crack house with a lady named Kathy, and I love her to this day because she taught me everything I needed to know. She didn't try to get down on me like most people would try to do. She was literally seeing a 14-year-old kid, and she said, this is what you're doing. I'm getting high, so I'm going to help you. And she helped me. She showed me the ropes, and how, we would let the customers in. She'd tell me specific stuff, like don't pull out all the drugs at one time. Don't pull out the whole bag. Pull out just a couple. Leave the bag in your pocket. She was telling me little stuff that I didn't know as a 14-year-old kid on how to run a drug house. And, so I got lucky when it came to that. And as time passed, people get to ask the questions. My mother I'm getting more lax. So now I'm missing 2-3 weeks of school now. Now I'm not coming home, period. Now I'm like, getting a little arrogant, like, Ma, I pay your bills, quit asking me questions. My mother got to the point she wasn't accepting my money. So I would give it to my little sister. She only 6, 7, 8 years old. You give her $400, $500 bill, she think they dollars. And I found out one day that she had bought $1 ice cream with $100 bill.
They gave you the money though.
And no, they kept the money because it was a neighborhood store where she went to buy the ice cream out the the side of the store. They kept the money because they knew my little sister. And when I came up there, they told me what happened.
I'm saying they kept it for you.
Yeah, and gave it back to me. Yeah, that was a funny situation, but yeah. So, that's how I grew up. That's how I got into the game early.
How was the crack house?
The crack house, it was dirty, I'm pretty sure before me it had been used, I don't know how long, but
who was this Dave guy?
And Dave was a guy that was maybe a mid-level drug dealer at the time. I don't think he was like multiple kilo guy, but he probably had a few kilos. breaking them down into rocks and all that. It was profitable back then.
How much was the spot doing?
Probably about 3,000-4,000 a day.
Oh, so it was, that adds, I mean, that doesn't sound like a lot at once, but if it's every day, that's 20,000 a week.
Yeah, and he only paying me 700.
Right.
So that's why our relationship didn't work out, because, I'm a young guy, but I'm real, knowledgeable on wanting to know what's going on around me. That's one thing I had when I was a kid. I wanted to know. I did research on it, and I asked questions. And so that didn't make sense to me. So when I asked him if I can buy my own, he didn't want me to. So that's when, stuff went left, and I, stopped messing with him, for the most part. But that was my initial break-in, to the streets. And, the sad thing about it is it's like a whirlwind. You get caught up in everything that's going on out in the streets, and before you know it, the stuff you say you would never do or be involved in, you find yourself being involved in it, or at least being around people that's involved in stuff that you thought you would never be doing, And that's the whirlwind in the streets that, that's the bad part about it.
So you and one of your friends got your own, like, how did you progress with the drugs?
Oh, okay. So after that experience, of course, I wanted to know how was he making all this money. So, I did the research. I seen how he was buying more and cutting it down and rocking it up. So what I did was I went to Kathy after I cut the relationship off with Dave, and I told her I needed a house, and I knew where to buy some drugs at. And Kathy showed me how to cook it up and everything. And we had an apartment building on Philadelphia and Woodward that her friend of mine was there, another person that she knew that got high, and she introduced me. I rented out the house from there, and we started selling 2-3 ounces a day.
Now that was a wild area, wasn't it?
Very wild. That's why I got shot at. The guys didn't want me over there. They found out I was from the east side. At the time, the drugs I was used to selling was stronger and bigger than theirs was on that side, and this was the north end. So when I bring that over there, I'm making more money than they making, and I'm a young 15-year-old at the time. And they paid a guy and ran up on me and shot me in the stomach twice.
Oh wait, tell us about that.
Yeah.
So how'd that whole thing go?
Yeah, we gotta rewind a little bit. So Kathy hooked me up with her guy at this apartment building, and like I said, we instantly blew up. We instantly selling 2-3 ounces a day.
So what are you paying? What are you copping? You copping an ounce at a time?
No, I'm copping an eighth. They call it an eighth.
How much?
That's 4.5 ounces.
I mean, how much did it cost?
2,500 at the time.
Okay. But you was getting powder?
Yeah, and I gotta cook it up myself.
Okay.
And I'm getting it from my cousin, so he kind of, a friend of the family, but we call each other cousins. So
it's all coming back.
Yeah, he giving me the best stuff.
And what you cutting off of it?
Probably about 1,200 ounce.
So 48 plus 6, 5,400. So you like a little more than doubling.
Yep. But you got to think we getting that off every day.
Like you're getting an eighth off every 2 days.
Every day. No, it's probably that day into the next day. We gotta go get some more. It got like that. And I'm like 15 at the time. And so I didn't get.
How many of it is? You doing it by yourself?
I'm doing it by myself at first.
Okay.
And then I started making a little money. I bought me a car. At the time we had the scooters was popular. I bought a couple of scooters. So I'm like, okay, I can't be sitting over here like this. Then I want to have some fun. I don't want to be over here all day. So I started hiring guys to come and sit. And I just give them amounts, and they get their money off that amount.
What would you get them?
Like if I give them
off 100.
Well, if I give them 700 worth, and they give me 500 back.
Okay.
We just do it like that. You're right. And then I learned the game. I learned how to start cutting it and blowing the rocks. I learned all that stuff. Kathy showed me, of course. And
so you were able to start cutting more. What was the blow up? You don't know.
The blow up was like, instead of me straight making maybe 1,200, I make 1,600 now.
So a little bit of blow up.
Yeah, just a little bit. Yeah. So after that progressed, it started getting around the neighborhood. This apartment building is off the hook. Everybody's going down there. So the guys who had a spot down the street, they actually from this neighborhood. So one day they rolled past, and it was this type of time. They rolled past. They had a drop top 5.0. I don't know if people remember the movie Menace to Society, but it was the same type of drop top 5.0 with the rims and everything, right? And they stopped, and we standing out front, and they said, "Hey man, y'all got to get the fuck on away from here. Y'all bring that east side shit over here." So I guess people have been talking and saying, "Well, all that type of stuff," right?
How old were they?
They probably was early 20s, teenagers. I think the guy driving, he probably was early 20s, at most. But everybody back then was young. It was a young game. So, when they did that, everybody out there got guns, so I instantly got to pulling my gun out, and they skirt off. So after that happened, I knew it was a problem, so I told my friend of the family, which I called him my cousin, about what happened. And he said, well, we got to get rid of them. And so we went down and just firebombed the house. We paid some guys to go firebomb the house.
Who was some crackheads or something?
Well, no, we knew some guys.
Oh.
And some of the guys still around, so I don't want to get names. So we paid the guys, and they went and firebombed the house and all that type of stuff. So
people don't know, a lot of these burned up houses in Detroit, a lot of that came from the drug wars.
Oh, guaranteed. For sure. Back then, guys didn't understand the concept of don't do business out where you lay your head. So a lot of guys was doing that, and it will come back to where, So anyway,
so they lived there.
Well, no, this is a drug house.
Okay.
I'm just saying overall.
Yeah.
But okay, so that happened. I stayed gone for 2 or 3 weeks, but I was still paying guys to be over there. When I come back over there, that's when I get shot.
How long?
I say about 2-3 days.
Oh, so they were on it.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
I'm standing out front, and a guy, I'm still paying guys to be there, but I come there periodically to drop off some more drugs and pick up the money. So I'm standing out front waiting on a friend of mine to come out so we can go. We finna go to a club. And as I'm waiting on him, it's a Coney Island on the corner at the time. I see a guy coming down the street, and it's kind of dark. He got a hood on. And I instantly put my hand on my pistol. And he walked past. I'm high, been smoking weed, and so I ain't think nothing of it. But it was like this Woodward at the time. Woodward was like the whole strip, all type of stuff. So Woodward always off the chain.
Yeah.
So it's not unusual for people to be walking down the street. So another guy's walking down the street. By this time, I'm hollering up in the apartment building like, Dre, hurry up. This guy walking down the street ain't got no hood, no nothing on him. So I didn't think nothing of it. I looked at him. His head was down. And as soon as he got in front of me, he turned into me and put a gun in my stomach and shot twice. Yeah. So when he did that, I said, oh, shit. And I tried to pull my gun. And it's like he was froze. And when I pulled my gun, I started running at the same time. He started shooting some more and shot me in my wrist. I got a little scar on my wrist. Shot me in my wrist, and that's when I turned around and shot him twice. Yeah, but he got away. I only shot him in the neck and the arm.
That's bad.
But it
grazed him.
Yeah, it was a graze. I noticed because I met back up with him years later in prison.
Did y'all have hard feelings or?
What? Come on, bro. Somebody had to leave, and he left.
Oh.
Yeah, but at the time I was there years before him. This how I got the 15 to 30.
Yeah, okay.
During that time.
Okay, so he.
Yeah, so that happened. I got shot. That's how.
How bad were you?
Oh, I had a colostomy bag for 7 months.
And you're what, 16?
Well, I turned 16.
Oh,
I was
damn,
still
so
15.
you young.
Yeah. I got shot October. I turned 16 in December. So yeah. It didn't matter. As soon as I got out of the hospital with that colostomy bag on, I got word of a little small town in Ohio called Canton, Ohio, and I was down there selling 50s.
What was it, 50 there? Like a 20 here?
Yeah. Making, oh my God, we had to be at one time, and we had 2 or 3 spots about 3,000-4,000. We was making over 10 a day.
You and who?
Me, my cousin, close friend in the family, which he's dead now. Omar. It was 3 of us, but we would bring people from Detroit to sit in the houses.
And what was so now you're the boss? What's that? What was Canton like versus Detroit? Was other Detroit people down there?
Oh heck yeah! You had it was a couple of guys named Pat and John. They was kind of considered kingpins at the time, and John was said to be accused of killing Pat, which is his brother. You wouldn't believe that. But anyway, that was back at that time. I don't know how true it is or whatnot. But that was a situation. So, but yeah, it was heck yeah, Canton was a gold man when it came to crack cocaine at that time. Heck yeah. So, that was the initial start of me getting off into the streets and me getting closer to catching my case. So that them year or two.
So did you stack money, or if you were blowing that's a lot. So you're making a couple $100,000 in a month.
Well, it wasn't all me. We got, and then listen. The BMF thing, it was that in that era, but we was blowing money back then like crazy, man. It was nothing to spend $2,000-3,000 in a day.
On
nothing.
What?
You just go shopping. You might get a pair of shoes. You not buying a pair of shoes. The Maury gym shoes cost $700. You go shopping, you spend a couple. That's $1,500 right there, just 2 pair of shoes. And just all type of stuff. You go to the bar.
Well, wait, you ain't old enough though.
What? Yes, you are. When you got some money, you and then me. I had a full beard at 15.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying? So, but still, I'm sure I looked.
Was
young.
it dangerous in Canton or not that much?
Nah, it was. The Detroit people made it dangerous. It wasn't.
Did the Detroit people beef with each other or?
Sometimes, but most times, nah. At that particular time, people was really just happy because everybody was making money. So, but you had your conflicts.
But it'll be more personal.
Yeah, it would probably be some stuff that happened in Detroit, and y'all seen each other down there or something.
Okay.
Why people down there, it was so much money, and the police couldn't really control it because they wasn't used to that. You know what I'm saying? They didn't have the manpower. Listen, I got into a situation down there where I'm running from the police. My gun is falling down my jogging pants. I pull the gun out while I'm running, and they stop chasing me. Don't you know Detroit police
would have
gunned me down? Yeah. I'd have been dead. So that just lets you know.
You pull out a gun and you wasn't aiming it at them. You was just grabbing.
My back is to them. So I'm just pulling the gun out because it's sliding down my leg. So I pulled it down really unconsciously and started running with it in my hand. But as I think back.
And he turned around.
Yeah, he literally stopped chasing me. And I looked back and seen him stop chasing me because we in their projects. And I hit a couple corners and went in somebody's house. And sat there and watched him out the window. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Canton was like, wow. And I was a kid. I was into that, So, yeah, that was one of the steps. So after that happened, I violated probation because when I got shot in my stomach, I had 2 guns on me. I told you I shot the guy. So I violated my probation from getting those from the guns. I got probation for the guns initially, but I violated it because I started going out of town, Canton, Ohio. I'm not really caring about the police no more, making his money. So once I violated that, they caught up with me. I ended up doing 1.5 years in juvenile, in the Boysville juvenile home. So I escaped from there.
What was that like?
It was like I'm in there for a violation with a gun. So they didn't send me to the worst, right? So it was like a camp that you can walk away from, right? But if you walk away, of course,
So you walked away.
Yeah. After I got tired of it, I walked away. But they called me, and they called my people and all that, my family, and said, listen, we won't report the escape if we come back because he's finna graduate this program.
Oh, you were almost done.
I was almost done. And we have his GED paperwork. He just passed his GED. Tell him that. And so that encouraged me to come back. All right, I got out the program. So I'm like,
Oh, so they really they honored that.
they honored it. Yeah,
Oh.
and then they liked me.
Okay.
You know. So after that program, I got out. I was 17. So when I get out, I'm broke. When I get out, my partner is dead. When I get out,
Oh, the older?
yeah, the family member.
Oh, what happened?
That
now?
was down with his ex-wife killed him.
Oh shit! How old was he?
Omar was 21.
Oh, he was super young.
Yeah, hell yeah. Yeah.
His wife or his girlfriend killed him.
No, they was married. They got married when they was 19.
Damn.
Yeah, crazy.
Was that a shock, or do you knew they was? I mean, of course they'd be surprised, but did you always think she was?
Yeah, I knew she was scurvy, but I didn't think. See, back then we really
Scurvy. I ain't heard that word.
Scurvy. Back then we wasn't really up on the CCW, so I didn't know about no license. She had a license to carry a gun, and I didn't know.
And what they gave her justified? She didn't get charged.
Yeah, she didn't get charged or nothing
But it was all a setup.
because she knew he didn't have a key to get in, so he's going to climb through that back window. He owned the house.
Oh, why did she want to kill him?
You know.
Oh, so her story was she thought it was a burglar.
Yeah. Yeah.
What is she like? Steal his money, or you don't know?
I don't know.
Did you ever see her?
Nope. Because it happened so quick, and I caught my case like within a year.
Okay,
I
so
went
you
to
get
prison
out.
for 15 years.
Omar's dead.
Omar.
So
dead.
the drugs, that was your supply.
That was my supply.
Who was he getting it from? He must have knew somebody kind of big.
Yeah, definitely. He knew a couple of people. He done took me around and all that type of stuff, but I didn't have no contacts with him.
Was there any of the famous names we would know, or you don't know?
But nah, they wasn't that big. Well, I'm gonna say this. Okay, so after he was gone, that kind of killed it for me in Canton at that time. I'm like, you got to go down there with enough to do what you need to do.
Yeah.
And I didn't have it. So at the time, I was like, I had got into a couple friends of mine, especially on the east side, it was real popular at the time of car thefts, where like stealing cars was it at the time. I didn't steal cars. I wasn't interested in it. I didn't know I was stealing. I never pursued it. But I knew a couple friends of mine that did.
And you're used to having money at this point.
Yeah, I'm used to having some money. So they telling me, man, we go out, we get an order, and we get a particular car. We get $5,000 for this car. We get $10,000 for this car. Just say, for instance, at the time in 1991, 92, if you got that year model Mustang, you would get, even with the keys or without the keys, you would get $5,000. So just think, the higher cars, the higher the money, the lower, what I'm saying? So it was like that at chop shops, and chop shops were popular at the time when it came to cars. So he told me about this, and that I got into it with him because he done did it several times before. I see he got some money. He didn't even stole him a car and retagged it and got him a brand new Mustang. I'm like, oh man, I got to get into this, right? So, like I said, I'm really not into stealing cars, but okay, we can make it happen. I'm wild at the time. I'm really, like you said, I'm used to having things, so it's kind of like I'm willing to take a chance. And I got with him, and that's what we did. We started going out getting cars. He'd go and get the list of whatever cars, and we'd go look for them. And eventually, that's how I caught my case.
So tell us what happened.
Okay, so I was looking for, at the time, Astro vans were popular. So
Chop Shop gave you an order for one?
Yeah.
Okay.
They wanted several of them. Yeah, they wanted several of them. So they
back? Okay. I'll begin.
So I'm looking for Astro. They was giving up $7,500 for these vans. So I'm looking for
that's a lot.
That's one of the more, So I'm looking. I find one day. And when I find it, like I said, I'm not a car thief, so I don't know how to get in it and steal it like that. But I see these people just so happen to have the car running in a driveway. I'm talking out the blue. This was just out the blue. And I said, oh, this is it. When I go up to the car, it's locked. when I turn around,
You had a gun on you?
yeah,
Just because you always had a gun, not
I always
because,
carried a gun.
But you wasn't planning to carjack.
No, I wasn't even thinking about no car. I'm seeing this car with the keys.
But this is
and
the
running.
time when carjacking is
Very popular, and the reason it's very popular is because of what I just told you. All these chop shops is giving us money up for these cars. So guys will go and pull a gun on you, give you them keys, and be gone, and go right around the corner, give it to the chop shop, and get $5,000. So, but anyway, I wasn't into that, so I wasn't thinking about that. But I was used to carrying a gun because of the drug selling and all that. But anyway, so when I turn around, it's a guy coming out the side door. I'm like, what the? He like, hey. And so I go to leave out, go, run past him. But the door is opening the way where I came. And so he go to grabbing me and try all that type of stuff. So I go, I'm like, I'm young. This is an older guy. So I push him down, and it's happened so fast. I heard some screaming in the house. So I guess a lady was coming out right behind her. I guess they was for the lead together. So she get to screaming. And before I know it, now I'm finna actually run out the driveway. A lady come in my, freeze, don't move. I'm like, what the? So I go to pull my gun. She shoot.
You was gonna shoot her?
No, I wouldn't think. See, at the time.
You just doing it by reflex?
Yeah, I'm running. Like, you know what I'm saying? There's somebody tell you freeze, you got a gun on you. You ain't thinking, like, I wasn't thinking of, because we in the wide open. Like, I'm finna get away, run. You know what I'm saying?
So what were you gonna do with the gun?
If anything,
throw it or something?
If anything, I'm pulling it out to leave me the fuck alone. I'm trying to get the fuck on. You know what I'm saying? And because I was still shot at her, I didn't shoot at her. You know what I'm saying? And that was one of the things in my case that kept me from getting like even more time, because I didn't aggressively go at her, and she turned out to be a sergeant at a night precinct. But anyway, so she shoot me in the shoulder. She shoot me in the left shoulder. So I still got the gun in my hand. So when she shoot me in the left shoulder, it breaks my arm, but I don't know at the time. But this arm go limp, and while I'm running, my arm is limp. I'm like, what the fuck? So I grab my arm with the gun in my hand and running like this, right? So I get away from her. Like I said, I'm young. I get away from her. They end up catching me 2-3 hours later.
How'd you get, wasn't there like a story how you got caught?
Oh yeah, okay, so I go into, I'm running through the neighborhood. I'm running through, I'm over in the Morass, Moraine area. And these were some white people.
That was kind of nice then.
Yeah, oh no, a number of white people over there at the time. And these were white people who house and who caravan as was too. So I'm running through the neighborhood, and I get to a backyard, and I go to run past a side door, and it was open. And I knocked on it, and the lady came to the door. She like, what's up? I'm like, can I come in? Please, can I come in? I'm bleeding. That's all I tell her. And I don't have the gun out or nothing like that. She let me in, all that type of stuff. And when she let me in, she like, is you in trouble? Because the police are just riding down the street. I'm like, no, they probably looking for guys that shot me. She like, well, why don't you go tell them? And when she said that, I just left out, right? So that was kind of the situation, because I got caught on the next block. So I think she instructed on where I was. So yeah, that's how I got caught.
But didn't you hide for a while?
Yeah, oh yeah, I hid, like I said, after I left her, I hid in the garbage can, at the time they had like big garbage cans in the alley, like the big steel ones, you know what I mean? So I hid in there for a minute, and then that was pretty much it.
No, but how'd they find you?
Oh,
did you have to tell them you were in there, or?
No, when I got out of the garbage can, I was tired of being in there.
Oh.
I got out of there and went to go walk across the street.
But they was waiting.
They was on me. They was like on each corner, on every block. They had it cornered off. It was no way. Yeah. So yeah, that's how they ended up catching me, and they caught me. When they caught me, they did the police thing that they do. You're through. We got you. You're going to jail for life. And
did they tell you it was a cop you robbed?
No, I don't even know if they knew at the time, because she was off duty. And I don't know if she was retired or nothing, but because the case I ended up taking a plea, but that's the reason why they gave me so much time, because she
So,
turned
so
out
okay,
to
so
be-
walk us through going to the county, getting charged. How nervous you were? What was the county like, and how'd you get a plea?
Well, okay, when I caught that case, it was like I've never been in trouble for anything violent. First of all, like I was never that type of person. I would carry a gun only because of the money and the drugs. I wasn't that type of violent guy. So going into that violent situation in the Wayne County Jail at the time, because they instantly, I'm an adult. I'm 17, but I'm an adult. So it was intimidating, but I knew I just had a certain aura in me, I believe, at the time where, I ain't going for the garbage, because I was in the streets, like, and I did run a drug house, so I kind of had a feel for the grimy and slimy type of characters, But in the county, man, you had guys washing each other. I mean, getting paid to wash the guys' drawers, all that type of stuff. And them are just type of things that you don't do in jail. Like, you just don't do that, right? You had guys getting extorted. All type of stuff was going on. But I really believe that my personality helped me get through a lot of that. And I was from the east side. And it was nothing but people from the east side I was locked up. And I didn't have a bad name. So anybody I was around from the east side, which it was mostly everybody, I tell them they know where I'm from. I know these people, and I was pretty much all right when it came to that. But it was intimidating.
What about how worried were you about the case? When did you find out it was a cop and all that?
Yeah, so when I went and got arraigned, the cop was there. And that's when I was like, oh my God. I went back and told people on the rock, and it was like, yeah, I was on the news. I was like, oh my God. So that's when it got serious to me. But like I said, I had never been in trouble before. So they came to me with an 8-year plea.
Oh, that ain't bad.
Right? No, it don't seem bad now. But at the time, I was a 17-year-old kid.
Oh, you turned it down?
Yes. Yeah, and they doubled it.
You turned down an 8-year plea.
Yeah, because of my attorney, because of the paid attorney, right?
He said don't take it?
And we fired him. The state...
What did you think you were going to get?
My guidelines was from 3 to 5 years. I mean, my guidelines...
Oh, because you didn't have carjacking.
No, it was just robbery.
Wasn't even armed robbery?
No.
Because you gotten rid of the gun?
Yeah.
But they said they saw you with a gun.
Yeah, but I never used it, nothing ever happened. Then back then, it was just... And then I had a good attorney, I ain't gonna lie. Right? But he didn't get me to take the plea.
Oh.
So we fired him. We kind of had to fire him because my grandmother passed at the time, who was paying for the lawyer. So he wasn't getting no more money. So the state attorney came in. That time he came in and turned the plea down. The prosecution, they tired of my shit. You know what I'm saying? So I took a plea to my guidelines.
Which was what?
My guidelines were 3 to 20.
Okay, 3 to 20.
Right. And being that I never had a case before,
but so you did get a better deal, but except they kept... Well, okay, go ahead.
No, they gave me 15 of the 20 that they could have gave me.
Oh, it wasn't a 3 to 20. They said we're going to give you somewhere between 3 to 20.
Yeah, and the state appointed attorney was like, man, you never had a case before. I mean, I don't see why you wouldn't get.
But but it was a cop though.
Yeah, I'm 17. I don't know nothing about the law. I'm kind of going off this attorney, and then the last attorney told me to turn the 8 down. So I really thought I wasn't gonna get no more than 8.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm a kid. I really don't know. In hindsight, yeah, I look back like, oh my God. But I just believe everything happened for a reason, because guess what? I didn't write not a book until my last year in prison.
So what did you end up getting?
I ended up getting 15 and 30.
On an unarmed robbery?
No, it was a robbery.
Armed robbery?
Yeah.
Okay, it was armed robbery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And So at the time we had good time and all that. So I was supposed to do maybe 12 years, 11 and a half, 12. I ended up doing the whole 15 because, like I said, I was wild. The era at the time, you know. So they ended up taking all my good time, and I ended up doing the whole 15.
What prison did you went to?
I went to
Riverside.
19 different prisons, but initially I went to Riverside Quarantine.
That's for under 21.
Yep, everybody under 21 at that. You know, they had the under 25.
Okay, and then you went to Jackson.
And Jackson is over 25. Yep. But from there, you go to any prison. It just depends on your time and your numbers. And my time recommended immediate level 4. So I started out at level 4.
Which one?
MR. Michigan.
Wasn't that bad?
Oh, yeah, it was the worst. Everybody in there was under 25.
Doing a bunch of time.
Everybody in there had over 10 years. Everybody. And most of the guys I messed with and I dealt with, all of them had 40 or better, 20 or better. So everybody had more time than me. So it kind of helped me a little bit get through that part of my time, because everybody used to always be around me like, man, I wish y'all had your time. You know, so. But, you know, outside of that, that's how I caught my case. And, you know, the rest is history as far as the books go. Like I said, I didn't write Chasing Money. Which was
what was your first tense incident in there?
Well, you know, my first...
And then you said you saw the guy who had you shot. My
first tense incident, that happened after I got into this tense incident on how I met Lupe. In 1995, I seen...
What year did this happen? What year did you go to prison?
I went to prison in 93.
Okay.
In 1995, I was transferred to Michigan Reform. I mean,
so you didn't really did you have many fights or?
For 15 years, no. But I'm not the guy that's gonna get into fighting you. I'm gonna try to stab you, and I'm trying to do that type of deal.
Did you have to do anything violent to anybody?
Yeah, of course.
Oh.
Yeah, a couple times. But for instead of 15 years, 5 or 6 times is not that bad.
You stabbed 5 people?
Well, no, I got into maybe 3 or 4 stabbing incidents. Definitely, for sure. I mean, that's 15 years. I mean, you got to think I went when I was turning 18.
Is it because as I got older, I thought about how a lot of people there's a lot of people do a lot of crimes. Everybody doesn't go to jail. Looking back now, the kind of people, for the most part, that mostly end up in jail got personality pride. Like, they'll just get into, like, you just get into it, people like, this didn't even have to happen.
Yeah. Well, you know, see, back then it was more so a prison boom. It was like a setup more so to send people to prison for more time at that time.
Oh, because they were building all the prisons?
They was building all these prisons, so they trying to fill the prisons up. So you had a lot of smart people in prison. You had a lot of different types of people in prison back then. You know, these days, you know, it's different. You know, you in prison.
So, like, what was one of the bad situations?
Well, how I met Lupe, we got into a big brawl in the TV room with some gang members from Southwest Detroit.
What was the ratio? Like, how did it? I know everybody watches these YouTube things from California now. There's all this racial stuff, but how was it? It was more probably Detroit was predominant. East side of Detroit, probably if you're from the east side of Detroit, you kind of got a built-in crew, kind of, right?
Yeah, literally. Back then, it was like when you walked in with your duffel bag, where you from? And you say wherever you from, and they point you to the direction of where your city is at. And on the yard at this time, they had particular Pontiac was over there, Detroit was over there. Well, the east side of Detroit was over there, west side of Detroit was over there. You know, you had your different cities. Flint was over there. You know, you had Saginaw. You know, you had all your different cities. But, you know, you had different alliances between these people, too. You know, people was friends, too. You know, it wasn't all no beef or nothing like that. Yeah, that's them myths, you know. But for the most part...
But Southwest Detroit was like its own kind of thing?
Yeah, they, you know, because they had a lot of gangs out there. So they was really segregated, you know what I'm saying, when it came to that. But of course they had alliances with Detroit too. They knew people. Yeah. You know, so, you know, at the time, you know, that's how it was. But
what was
ratio sense, It was mostly Detroit, mostly black people locked up in Michigan. I'll be seeing other states as, it's different races, But in Michigan, 60 to 70% were blacks at the time.
And probably 3 out of 4 from Detroit.
Yes.
Of the black.
For sure. Guaranteed. Right. So. And from Detroit, it was a lot of, East Side that was locked up at that time, But so the incident was, my bunkie was a Mexican from Southwest Detroit. They had 2 people locked in one cell. He was in the bunk above me. I was on the bottom bunk. And I pretty much left my locker open. I didn't never lock it. Because I really, if you stole from me, we got a problem.
Yeah.
And we had a key to the room, so couldn't nobody really steal but your bunkie. So my tremors came up missing one day. And when they came up missing, I instantly went to my bunkie. He denied it. You lying. So when they called us in for count, we got locked up in a room. So I told her, I said, where's my tremors at? He denied it. We had a fight in the room. I got the best of it. So I told him, after they opened these doors, at the time we had tokens, physical tokens for money. They ended up taking them away, but at the time we had tokens. I told him, you better go get a loan to pay for my tremors. Or you got to leave to the yard. You got to go. He's in a gang. I don't even really know he's in the gang.
What gang's in?
I don't know. I know they had the blue rags. I probably wouldn't even tell you right now if I did.
Yeah.
But they don't try to.
Yeah.
But anyway, but they had their own little thing going on, and I didn't know of this. I didn't, I wasn't trying to disrespect. I didn't know nothing about this. You violated when you stole, so I don't care what you doing, right? So that was the case with that. And
So did it come out that he stole them?
yeah,
Why would he just? How long he been in your cell?
we were just like maybe a week or 2.
Oh, so he was just a
And
thief.
and to come to find out, it was because of some stuff I did. They sent him to steal from me, and the only thing of value he seen out in the open was my tremors.
What had you done?
Well, a guy was giving out loans, and he was a bully. The guy who was giving out loans. So I had a guy go get a loan from him, and I told the guy when he came to get his money back for the loan, tell him to come get it from me.
Who was this guy?
He was a guy he was from Detroit, but he was just a bully. And really nobody didn't like him. None of my guys I knew liked him. But didn't nobody really, mess with him or know how to, they just kept it moving. Me, at that particular day, I didn't even use the money. I gave the money to the guy when he got the loan. You know what I'm saying? Because he needed the money. And I knew the guy, he was a cool guy. So when the guy came back for it, I told him, man, get the hell on. I ain't got the money for you. He like, oh, D, you gonna do me like I said, gone. So he knew he couldn't really physically mess with me at the time. And like I said, it was a lot of us. So he really ain't want no smoke when it came to that. But secretly, he sent this guy to do that. Because they was in the same
He
gang.
was from Southwest Detroit?
Yeah.
The guy giving out the loan?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if he was from Southwest,
But
but
he
he
was
was
with
affiliated.
them. Okay.
You know what I'm saying? They was in the same crew.
Okay.
Yeah, so he sent him to do that. Anyway, so that's how it transpired. And we got into a big brawl in the TV room, and that's what really led.
So it was who? It was the East Side versus whatever gang it was?
It was the East Side and West Side versus the gang.
Oh, that had to be an unbalanced match.
Yeah, it was too many of it. But the thing was surprised everybody as the West Side jumped in. A West Side guy, and this how I had stopped having so much discrimination towards the other side of my city. Cause he hit a Mexican in the head with a skillet that was coming behind me. He had me in the bowl. The West Side guy, his name Mark. I hope you see this. He hit the guy in the back of the head with the skillet, knocked the Mexican out. I didn't even notice until people told me later on after we got out the hole. And from that point on,
How many people were in the fight?
shit, it was about almost 20 of us. Yeah. 20 of us. So it was about 7 to 8 of them. Yeah. So that was the big incident. And crazy thing about it, years later, down the line at a whole nother prison, the guy who that was my bunkie, He go home. His brother is still in prison. He tell his brother about me. I see his brother at another.
So what, y'all got cool or something?
Who? The brother?
Yeah.
No. We eventually. That's how I met Lupe.
Okay.
Cause I cut into the.
When
brother.
you say the brother told you about him, like to do something to you or something?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he told his brother in prison, like, it's a guy in there that did this and did that, and we looking for him.
So they were looking for you.
Yeah. So that's how I met him. And when I found out they was looking for me, of course I went to them. You know, because I wasn't finna be sitting in no prison, you know. And when I went to them and I told him what his brother did, because his brother didn't tell him he stole from me. His brother told him that I just beat him up, basically. We jumped on him. And when I told his older brother the actual story, he was like, what? He was like, man, hold up. You know what I'm saying? So we got the correct story. He called his brother, and he knew his brother was lying, and he was like, oh my God. Like 2-3, he apologized. We got cool from there. And come to find out, Lupe was the president of the Hostas. This guy who I'm talking about, the older brother, was the vice president. The Hostas was, I don't know the real history on it, but I knew it was majority Mexicans. It seemed like that's all it was. And it was a whole bunch of them. It was 200-300 of them at this one facility. It was a lot of them.
Was it a gang or was it a religious thing?
Yeah, I think it was more so a religious thing. Because they, like, it was accepted. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Oh, do you mean administration?
Yeah.
Accepted.
Yeah. So I'm assuming it was more so. But they was together. Let me tell you. So I ain't want no trouble with them. Sure. And when I confronted them, it was like I was into that. I was 25 years old at the time. I had like 5 or 6 years left. I'm like in the mind state of going home now. I'm trying to. That's why I'm confronting them. So because I don't want that to be a problem.
Yeah.
Stopping me, you know. So, you know, that's how I eventually met Lupe. And, you know, once we get into the Lupe story, we'll see how that made.
But okay, just leave us this. It's after you get cool with Lupe, he started having his father do what with your wife on the outside?
Oh, listen, once me and Lupe got cool and he just brought me in, like he extended his hand, you know, with the relationship with me as father. I talked to his father over the phone. I introduced his father to my wife at the time, and his father started actually supplying my wife with 20 to 30 pounds, you know, every week or every other day, depending on how fast she get rid of.
Oh, wow. So she was selling a lot of weed, and this what, late 90s at this point? Or this still mid 90s, late 90s?
No, this is early 2000s.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, hell yeah. This is 2003,
okay.
2004. Yeah. Yeah. Early 2000s.
So from this fight, it leads to, because you got a good personality and talk to people, but also you willing to, obviously, there was the violent component, but you were willing to, with the violence, but you also had the personality. You end up getting cool with the same people that was out to get you, and then they giving your wife pounds while you still locked up.
It's crazy how you put that, but that's how it turned out. That's how it turned out.